Please rise to the pledge of allegiance.
Yes.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, we're gonna recognize guests. Jody.
Just here.
Robert Weatherby. You wanna talk on the public building lockup, is that correct?
Well, not really a lockup,
What's that?
not really a lockup.
Okay.
It's just that a resident wanted to see the tower truck
Mhm.
and knocked on the door and he was let in.
Mhm.
Then a while later, he was asked to leave. And I don't wanna know why the reason a resident was asked to leave.
Okay. Board members have any questions before I proceed?
Who was on duty at the time? Was there a fire person there or was it an ambulance?
Yes, it was.
Well, that's not answering my question. What
There was a fireman there.
there was, okay. And what was,
Who was the fireman?
Mr. Randall,
Nope, was not there.
who let him in?
One of our ambulance personnel.
Weren't you on the phone?
Yeah, so I can I speak? You good? So, I let him in not knowing some extenuating
Well, wait,
circumstances.
whoa.
No,
You said you weren't there, and you just said you let him in.
I was on the phone, you said I was on the phone, and so I was on the phone with one of our EMTs from the ambulance, who asked if he could show him the truck, because he wanted to see it. I didn't know some extenuating circumstances, the person in question that we're talking about, and I'm not gonna mention any names, was asked years ago, and I didn't know the extenuating circumstances, was actually removed from the fire department as a member due to some fraudulent actions that he was taking amongst the association name. And that's why I called the chief, to let the chief, I always call the chief and let the chief know when I show something or bring somebody into the station. I've always done that, don't I, Andy?
You have. And two.
And I called him and his exact words were, you don't know the circumstances, I'll explain them later, but he's gotta leave the building.
And to that, the person that we're talking about, and I won't name any names out of respect, called me after and I explained to him in detail what happened.
Yeah.
So,
And was he ever notified that he was banned from the,
he received a letter back in 2011 from Paul Martin stating that he's been removed from the fire department.
from the fire department? That don't mean he wasn't removed from the fire station as a resident.
Why would you let someone in that has been removed from a fire department into a building unattended by fire personnel?
In other words, I can't win.
Have you been removed?
Yeah.
Who removed you?
I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know.
You resigned,
You resigned.
You were,
I did not.
According to association paperwork, you resigned, is what we're seeing.
yep, was what we saw in the book.
I
We looked all this
I
up.
was working out of town 6.5 months out of the year. And I feel that I wasn't obligated to do it. So I turned my stuff in.
Okay, so
Yeah.
my point is, why would a normal person pick any time of the day when majority of the time there's no fire personnel there unless there's a call or on a Tuesday meeting night?
He noticed the vehicles there.
Okay.
I mean, I go by, I notice there's rigs there.
Yeah.
I mean, anybody knows there's rigs. Can stop in and say hi or whatever.
Yes.
well, I feel we've answered your questions.
Okay.
I mean, it sounds like the individual in question was informed of why, and he was.
I didn't know that.
Okay, well, I mean, if you were concerned about, you could have reached out to that individual as well, knowing who it is. So,
I didn't. He didn't give me no explanation.
okay.
He just said he was asked to leave and he called Andy afterward.
And I believe that this individual is welcome to see the truck if there's members there to supervise the visit.
There was.
No,
But that was before
There's only
There was
ambulance
a
member.
needed to be a
Just
discussion
ambulance
out.
personnel, he has no ties to fire there.
What?
The ambulance personnel has no ties to the fire department that was on duty that day,
Then why was he in the building?
because he's on ambulance.
Why on the fireman's side?
Everyone knows that,
Why on the fire department side
I'm not-
if he is ambulance?
I'm not gonna go into that, he's just not given tours of
And he's
fire
not
department.
even a resident of Richford.
He's an employee of Richford.
He's an employee.
Yeah.
He's not a resident.
No.
And in our station, we don't lock the doors from one to, like, when you were on fire, wasn't allowed to go on fire side, and ambulance wasn't allowed to go on ambulance side back in the day. That's not the case no more. Now everybody has free run. If you're on one service, you can go back and forth.
We always roam.
But it used to be a rule that you weren't allowed to. They didn't want you back and forth, but we are now.
Okay.
That's where that lands.
This
That's
is,
because we got
this, the
stuff missing on the
answer
fire
is, the
department.
question's been answered, we're gonna move on. And we'll go to.
I got another question too.
Okay,
The day of your coin drop, April 15th, I was a member of the Richford Fire Department site. And I got in there and I asked where the coin drop being held. He didn't answer. 2 hours later, I tried to get in and I was blocked. Now, who did that?
it's a fire department association, site, it's a private site. It has been private right along, and
No, it wasn't.
I'm
When
not,
Linda started, it was public.
no, it was,
That's why you got 655 members.
it's a private site. It's,
Now it is, yeah.
it's been private since I've been involved, so.
And ultimately, Bob, we can, as a select board, discuss the other topic because it involved town property. But the fire department's association website is not of the
It
purview.
is not association website. It says Richford Fire Department.
Which is run by the fire association.
It don't say that. They're using the town name, Richford Fire Department.
We could be Richford Fire, New York, for all that matters. It doesn't call out Vermont.
I know, I read the policies,
Okay,
Okay,
both
all right, we're moving
Facebook
on.
and group.
So we have discussion of public.
You just don't like it, discrimination.
I don't think it's discrimination.
Yes, it
Bob.
is. I asked a simple question on an open site. Period. If it wasn't discrimination for me being banned, what was it?
You were not banned.
Yes, I was. I can't get back into it.
You can't get back into the association?
No.
Well,
There's only 3 administrators. Andy, Shelby, and Thomas. One of them did it.
and again, that's their association, which is not connected to the town.
It is
It's connected to the town, but their association is a separate entity from the town, and they can, their members, their charter has their own association.
I'll tell you what,
Well, Bob,
I want an answer.
well, then you take it to the fire association.
No, I'm taking it to a lawyer.
That is your choice as well.
Okay, discussion of town
Discrimination,
properties.
that's all it was.
Okay, Bob, thank you.
People don't appreciate things. That was nice.
Discussion of town properties.
I have no update on it at this point. I just did want to maybe, before we proceeded too far on a couple of these properties, at that meeting today, they were talking about, and I know
I had a lot of information today.
It was a lot to absorb in a short amount of time.
yeah. So
That
I'm
was
thinking,
exciting.
one of the properties, we may want to put the brakes on selling it until we have an opportunity to at least explore just exactly what money is available
Right.
for economic development and all of the things they were discussing today. They made it sound like this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to get money
Yes.
for economic development, for building, everything.
And
So-
is it strings attached or non-strings attached? Some of
That,
it.
like I say, I think we'd have to look into it, find out how much, for what, if there's any strings attached, but I'm thinking that property on Troy Street,
Yeah.
it's probably not the greatest building lot for a home, but it might be something could put to use for business. You know, if we could get grant money to, so
Okay.
I was just thinking maybe, you know.
You're talking down near the trailer part,
Yeah.
yeah.
And again, maybe, you know, we would want to sell it, but for what little we're gonna get from the sale, maybe it would be better in the long run to look into maybe trying to
Well,
develop it and maybe sell it to somebody down the road. I don't know.
yeah, no, definitely.
Are you talking the piece of land next to the trailer park?
The priest
Yeah.
lot.
It may not amount to anything, but again, I'm just thinking.
Isn't that a nice
what's-
long lot though, like 3/4 of an acre or something like that?
Almost, it's 1 3/4.
1 3/4 of an acre.
Yeah.
I think, my personal opinion is right now, we probably ought to get some type of fencing down through there before,
Well, I think it looks like the neighboring property is now vacant,
yes.
and
that's
the
what
one
I'm saying.
behind it is vacant.
So
Have
if
we ever discussed with the trailer park about their interest in, like, if we moved forward with something like that? Would they be interested in letting some of that go? Maybe.
That'd be a nice time to actually designate the property line.
I think that's one of the few that maybe hasn't been surveyed.
Maybe
I'm not sure, maybe.
maybe we can look into it, because I think that was probably before they didn't want to move their stuff off, and some people have gone down several times to talk to them. So if whoever moves in next, if we already have a distinct place where the property line is, they're gonna know that.
So that front trailer that you're talking about, the first one, it's in the middle of being remodeled.
Yeah,
They're moving in shortly.
Okay.
yeah, so we really should look
Scotty
into
Cruz
that.
bought that trailer
Oh, he did?
for his daughter, I believe is the story.
But yeah,
And the second one is not vacant, there's somebody there, we know that for a fact, we've been there.
Oh, okay, it just looks it.
Yeah, it's, you know,
Okay.
but no, I like Alan's idea
Okay.
about holding on and seeing what's coming down the road real quick.
It may not amount to anything, but I'm just thinking,
Yeah.
let's
It's not
look
hurting
at
us.
all,
It's not hurting us.
look at our options before.
Yeah, before jumping.
And Michael did mention before the meeting that there has been interest in a couple of the properties that we've discussed.
Yeah.
One, a realtor offered to,
Yeah, I got a message about that.
and then the other one was the one I was surprised at, was the one on the J Road, on the 105 road, the odd shaped one. You said you had a couple inquiries on that, which I'm surprised at. But yeah,
Oh, yes, I know what you're talking about.
That's a weird piece of land.
Railroad tracks.
So that's a weird piece of land.
it's only an acre, right? Acre or something, 1 point something,
Yeah.
but it's long and narrow.
It's all hill.
Okay.
At one point though, apparently there was a house on
Yeah,
there.
yeah, I remember, there was two.
Crazy.
They moved from one to the other. They backed in a trailer, then got sick of that trailer, and they just moved it down closer to the railroad tracks.
okay, so kind of with the excitement, I kind of forgot about Andre here, so what
Yes, sorry.
Well, it's been busy. It's been real busy. Speaking of properties along the river, you guys have some squatters down there. That probably needs to be addressed. They're in the old ruins, what I call the old ruins.
Yeah.
Okay. I didn't see anything in the town ordinance where I could go down there and throw them out. So you might need to have to look into starting an eviction process for them. I don't know what the sanitary conditions are, but they've been down there for a couple of weeks. There's a couple dogs, a couple tents, makeshift kitchen. And if you want, I can go down and take some pictures. One of the dogs.
do they have a dog license would be my first thought.
And you're familiar with the process from last year, right, Kylie?
Yes, I had emailed the select board about getting the process started with the attorney, so.
Okay. So we'll start that process.
We're all in agreement with starting the process of
Yes,
getting rid of
I
those
agree.
Yeah, I
waters.
was just waiting for everyone's answers.
Yeah, definitely.
And once you start that process, you're probably gonna, they probably will not leave on their own. You'll probably have to I'll explore it with them. I'll go
Yes.
down there and I will talk to them, I have a good rapport with them, we'll see what happens.
Okay, cool,
Okay.
thank you.
Anything else that we need to be addressed? I know that the UTVs for the young people and the motorbikes have been really hectic. I was on my way over to Newport to follow up on something on Friday when before I left, I got a call about a car that was really being reckless and dangerous, and they told me who and where, and I went there and it wasn't who and where, because I heard the car someplace else. Couldn't find it, and then when I got on the top of the mountain, there was like 3 or 4 calls that came into dispatch. So I returned and found out subsequently the car headed to Innisfail, but it was creating a real lot of havoc on Friday afternoon.
Thank you for all that.
Is there anything else?
No, anything?
Thank you, Andre.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much.
And I do appreciate being on the alert system. It's extremely helpful. I'm sorry about yesterday.
So, people that don't know, we have an active 911 alert. We have put Andre on the ambulance and fire, just so when we get these calls that are questionable, he's aware of them and he can show up if he's in the area,
Okay.
so.
Thank you.
Yes, and I was hoping yesterday would have been one of those calls I probably should have shown up, but it was just a real rough day.
No,
But
we
I
all
was told
have,
another-
yeah.
I told another agency was responding.
Thank you.
And I will get to, I'll let you know what the outcome of their investigation was.
Thank you.
Okay?
Thank you.
So you're waiting for Highlands?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so we can move on. We did properties. Did you have anything more, Alan, besides? With that, I'm looking for the approval for 5/1/23 select board meeting minutes. Is there any changes that need to be made to the minutes? Hearing none. Looking for a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to use that,
I'll second.
to approve, should say.
All those in favor?
Who's that question? Well, exactly.
Wally?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Update from the town administrator.
So I've got a couple things, I just wanna say today's, meeting with the state on ARPA money went very well. There was a good turnout of other municipal workers, and we had some local business representation. And overall, I thought it was good for Richford to have all of them come here, and for the state to pick Richford in the first place to do it is great. There was a lot of ideas that we have all learned about, and a little overwhelming. A lot of information was said so we'll have to talk with Lisa. She said, reach out to her for any questions on grant opportunities that she can direct us. And so we'll work on doing that and see what we could use.
Yeah.
So it's exciting. I think they said approximately 56 people were there. So that's how many attended. Other than that, I have for the rail trail extension, I'm gonna try to get a hold of Trudell Consulting so we can start moving on the planning part of that again. So we have someone that can work on designs of the trail and work with hopefully some of the property owners on whatever they need. I updated the assistant zone administrator job description from what we said last meeting. I didn't print any out, but I can email it to you guys for your review. And so feel free to add more feedback as I do that. And then for the water rules, I started working on typing them up, a 2-word document, so we have them. And I don't know if you want to do another meeting this week, or if you want me to send one out, we can.
Part of the I'm clear. Are you gonna have them all typed up by then?
I can try.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but for sure, I can get most of it done. I mean, we could have a good start on it.
Okay.
We could probably work on some things
Okay.
with some of that, even if it's unfinished, we could have some sections.
Are you available Thursday?
I believe so.
Okay.
So,
I might need to find coverage for the window, but
Okay.
I'm here.
Okay,
So potential Thursday.
yeah.
Okay.
Alan, that's good of you. Okay. I wanna reach out to Jeremy, see if he can make it.
Thursday at 3. That's all I have.
Wally, highways report.
Yes. I do need to go have personnel issues to go into executive with. General road maintenance, they're grading, here and there. They've begun ditching on I believe the Corliss Road. They're gonna do the stone lining. They cleaned up the debris at the hockey stick factory, that big pile. It looks good. I didn't realize, you don't realize how much it was there until it's not there. So that looks good. On that note, can you have Jeremy tell us where the water line is that goes to the hockey stick factory?
Yeah,
Cause, we had talked about that since they're doing all that ditching, on a couple roads, that they were gonna dump all the material from the ditching there to
Okay.
extend his pad in part for the rail trail plan, so he had more room in his yard, level ground. But Jason was worried worried about where the water and sewer line might come into that building. If it was right where we were thinking, he didn't wanna bury it 10-15 feet deep. So if that's the case, we may have to think of a different solution.
I'm texting him now so I don't forget.
Yeah, I believe Jason cleaned the stuff over by the post office.
Yes, they
Is
got,
that done?
oh, it's wonderful. They did, and they got all the sumac out of there, and then they cleaned all the dead stuff down, so.
It's good.
The next step is going to be, John is working with, one of the teachers at Cold Holler, who's got 2 different groups. One's gonna come over and work on the library, the plantings there, and then we're planning to put in like daylilies and hostas and stuff on the bank there.
Okay.
Something that's low maintenance.
So yeah, something that'll be good every year.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Thanks.
I think that's all I have to report, except for executive later.
Okay, buildings report.
Not a lot. We found, Thomas got hold of me and told Michael told me about an AC that was upstairs for the superintendent's office, so we used that for down to the fire department. It does work. Should be big enough, so that's what Joey said the size was that we needed.
Yeah, 14 to 15.
So, I'm hoping that works out. I did have one on order from Ace, so I do have one there. They're gonna hold it.
Okay.
So it's not a big deal, they just took it from one place to the next. What else is going on? I talked to, Nick, and he's gonna do, the utility sink in the boiler room here is cracked. So when we did the fire marshal and the plumbing inspector for the state, they had said the eye wash, when we replaced the sink, to fix the eye wash, because it only has cold water going to it, and it's supposed to be more between 60 and 100 degrees at the most, so I'm gonna have him take care of that at the same time. So that'll be off the list from him. The library has some concerns about a lock for their bathroom. Thomas did go buy a new doorknob for the bathroom, but he said it doesn't work. The door's an older door, it's too thick, can't get it to go through. So I'm gonna, I don't know if there's a special lock someplace, I'm gonna probably have to go over and take a look at it. Maybe they have something at Lowe's or something like that online that I can order that would be more for the older door.
Just a suggestion, Tony Archibald was one of the salesmen down at Ace. Maybe he could stop by and measure it up. And
Order
come
the
up-
right one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that a door that has like, yes, it locks from the inside, but somebody, if need be, we can unlock it from the outside?
I don't think so.
I think we should get something
Always
like,
have something like that, a safety for kids,
well, that and,
if an overdose.
yeah, or
So I
something.
think that's all part of the issue, because it doesn't lock from the outside and some people is locked in.
Yeah, well, no, I mean, we don't want it to lock from the outside, we want to just be able
No,
to
the other way, to
unlock
unlock
it.
it from the
Yeah, yeah.
outside with a pin or a special key.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Or you can maybe even do with electronics, just as long as the staff knows the pin or something.
Right. So, but he said the regular doorknob would not fit on it, so we'll have to have it sized up. Bobby looked at the roof that was leaking over there. It's a rubber roof in between two metal roofs down a valley that comes at different angles. So he's doing the quote for putting a rubber, metal roof and just hooking onto the other metal roof, get rid of that valley look. That would save the problem of the ice buildup and backing up in underneath the metal roofs.
Okay.
But we heard a lot of stuff good today upstairs in the meeting, and a lot of stuff about the libraries and all the different grants they have out there and different things, so I'm gonna look into some of that stuff. I know they already are filling out for some grants. We sat with them one afternoon, so
Yeah.
maybe we can pull something off. They wanna expand the building. I don't think that's feasible, but.
Yeah.
And is there anything else? I think that's it for now.
Okay. So water and sewer, we have discussion of some bills, right, Kylie, that we need to take care of.
I think the major one was Green Avenue.
Green Avenue. Okay.
I agree with the assessment that we should, since it was apparently town issue, that we do cover the exploratory cost. I mean, I guess my question would be, how much is it? Is it crazy?
She wasn't sure yet. I don't believe it was crazy.
So we can-
She was supposed to come tonight, but I don't know, something must have came up, and she was gonna get me the bill as soon as she had it.
Yeah, but I think, I mean,
Because from what Jeremy said, it sounded like as soon as they fixed that loop, everything was
It solved
perfect.
their problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did forget something, sorry. Brooksfield, we signed up for the service for all of the generators, backup generators.
Okay.
And we did the same thing as we did last year, the 1 year, once a year, every year kind of thing.
How long is
And-
that good for?
1 year,
Just 1 year, the service?
1 year, one service for everything.
Okay.
and that covers what? Like where, we have a backup generator here?
No, we have one at the fire station.
Okay, yeah, and one at the high school.
At high school, elementary school, and then, down at the water pump down, and then one up on top of the hill.
So it's not a multi-year contract that we do?
No. And it was $3,200.
Okay.
Now back, post office furnace, I knew there was something else with post office. I called that Farms, that you had set up.
Farm.
Farms, yeah.
Yeah.
Called them, they don't actually do the services themselves, they have people who work for them, they sell. And, he said he had a guy, Peter Watson, in Fairfax, would be the closest one to us. And I've called him now 3 times and got no response back.
Well, maybe you call them back and say, hey,
Yeah,
is there anybody else? Since
Yes.
he's not adhering to his service area very well.
right.
And there, I'm wondering, since you guys are talking about lots of money, and they went to the wood pellet place, if there wouldn't be some sort of way we could get some funding to put something like that in.
Yeah.
I mean, otherwise it probably won't be economically feasible. I'm sure it's way more expensive than probably initially than putting in an oil boiler.
I was trying to catch the buildings guy.
I know.
That exact question. and
I wanted to stay longer, I just couldn't stay any
I-
longer.
Well, the problem is, you talk to one person and you wanna go to the next person, they're gone. so,
Yeah, I know when I went there, like they had one in there and it was probably like a $40,000 or $50,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a
Well, I wanted to kind of plot this around, John gave me this, but he says it's like up to 8 weeks of getting it. So, if we make a decision, I mean,
well, I guess maybe it isn't as bad as that. It won't be that much of a difference.
yeah, exactly. And fuel prices are going up, they're only going to continue to go
Yeah.
up, they're not gonna go down by any means. So, I mean, we could put it in the newspaper and put it out for bid, and maybe people come forward with ideas or something. But we'd have to know what we wanna go with, I'm assuming, and I just want people walking in and going, oh yeah, we should do this, and then
Is that for like a standard?
so that's for exactly what's there, but replacing it with brand new, which that last one's how many years old?
Well, I also know that Josh Jarvis and Matt have been to that Tarn place, and they actually had one put in their showroom, or they're the one that's in their office. So maybe they
Maybe
could,
they could just go down and talk with them for a little bit and get
well, I don't know, I don't think they'll give you any numbers, but maybe they could, if they made some calls, you might get some more action.
okay,
Since they have a connection and are actually have a showpiece in their
okay,
room there, in their office area.
nice. Now I'm done.
Alright, so water and sewer, we're replacing a hydrant down across from the Pinnacle Peddler. We've got one on order, we're working with the wood chip plant, I always forget the name,
Probably
apologize.
Vermont Natural.
Vermont Natural.
Forest Products.
They have a fire hydrant in the middle of the yard that has been in their way and had been broken twice, so we're working with them in order to move that towards the road so it's out of their way. They completed the project up, there was that loop that was in question, we just briefly talked about. That was done, finished last week, I forgot if it was Thursday or Friday, but that solved the problem, which goes back to the bill. We've gotten some calls, water coming out of the bottom of Green Avenue, and anyone that doesn't know what that is, there's a valve there, and they went to close it, and they open it back up. It takes a while for it to reseat, so it will leak until it reseats. If it doesn't reseat, we'll eventually have to replace that, but we'll see what it does. Jeremy, of course, has been buying some things to be OSHA compliant, and he's telling us that they need a 4 gas meter for, basically it's like kind of like a bin entry when we do it at the mill, they're supposed to have a meter for confined space. That being said, I've been kind of looking at them on the fire department because we do not have them. It's a 4 gas meter and I don't have the gases in front of me. Do you know what they are off the top of your head? It's something, if you go into an environment that's questionable, you should have on you in order to detect if there's something hazardous. I've got one here, and the meter itself is just about $1,200. But that being said, you have a calibration docking point and a gas that every 90 days you're supposed to calibrate these in order to maintain, you know.
So it takes gas to detect gas?
It takes gas to calibrate it to make sure that's within calibration, so that's what it's doing. So the docking port and the gas itself, docking port's $800 and then it's $325 for each cylinder of gas that we have to buy, and that, I don't know how long that will last. Fire department needs it, so we're gonna get it. What I'm proposing is to share this with the water department. The water department, I asked Jeremy, how many times a year you're gonna use this? 3 to 4 times by the sounds. My question is, does the town or the water department wanna share the cost with the fire department? The fire department will be using it more than the water department, but just to help share the cost, and that's a question I'm posing to the board.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you proposing for, like a 50-50 split?
I wouldn't go 50-50, I'm thinking 60% fire, 40%, yeah, and that would be what I would ask.
This is not bad.
So if you're making that motion, I'll second it. To split the cost at a 60-40 split with the.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Hearing none, motion passed. Okay. Alan, do you have anything besides all the contacts we made today?
We did have a chance to make some initial inquiries into helping with the sewer line on the bridge on 105. Not sure it's gonna lead to anything, but at least we got some contacts to start with, and also some good information regarding the financing for Golf Course Road, because we gotta get that on the ballot for town meeting day next year. We got time, but my only thought on that was, initially I thought it might be wise to use some of our ARPA money in conjunction with our capital improvement money and finance the way they're talking today, there might be a state revolving loan fund that might have an element of forgiveness to it.
Yes.
If we meet certain criteria, we may wanna look at that instead of using our own.
That was like a 40-year loan too, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, it's.
So we got some information to look
So
at.
your capital improvement fund could recoup some of it over the next 4 years?
Or
something?
not even use our capital improvement money, save that for water lines.
Yeah,
or
right, okay,
things
yeah.
we gotta do and maybe look at. We gotta get more information on it, but we got some good information about possibly financing more of that project and using less of our own money.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's definitely good news.
that's all you have, okay. Parks, playgrounds, cemeteries.
Not much, we need a new hot water heater down at the Loveland building. Nick put it in, he just did a small one, cause they don't use much down there, one of those hot water heaters on demand. But that's it.
Any other business? Hearing none, I believe we have to go into executive session.
Yeah.
Will there be any votes pending? There will be on one,
Yeah, potentially on mine, right?
yeah, there's another one too that
Yeah.
needs to be discussed,
Yeah.
so. Okay.
So we may invite you back. Alrighty, I'll make a motion to come out of executive.
I'll second it.
Alrighty, I make a motion to approve bankruptcy court settlement agreement with Larry Carr and to authorize town attorney Brian Monahan to sign all documents necessary to effectuate the settlement and to authorize select board chair Andy Pond to execute the quitclaim deed to release the town's interest.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, motion passed.
You wanna share that with Michael?
Yeah.
Do I have a motion to adjourn now?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
She seconded it.
All those in favor?
Ah.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion passed.